Hello, I'm Luke Darcy and welcome to Access All Areas. Joining me once again is Damien Barrett. And Damo, the Tigers have made a big statement by finally beating a team above them inside the top 8.
They did that, Fremantle, and they've got a couple more teams above them in the top 8 to contend with the next fortnight. Sydney followed by Hawthorn. It's not just the finals word being uttered at Richmond, though, Darcy, is it? By way of the F word. It's top 4. They're actually not ruling themselves out. If they can get on a roll against Sydney and then Hawthorn, I mean, the top 4 does come into reckoning.
Who they beat last year, and they would give themselves a chance. I mean, Sydney are in front of them inside the top 4. If they're not got Sydney and Hawthorn, they're a genuine top 4 chance. No reason why you can't say that at all.
6 points away from that position at the moment. But this is what they did to Fremantle yesterday in what was a very impressive display, albeit against a depleted Dockers.
Yeah, still a top 4 side. Very tricky opponent, the Fremantle Dockers. Unbelievably well coached, hard to score against. You're right, with 3 of their best players out, but you can only beat who's in front of you. In the past there, the games, Richmond find a way to lose. So big tick to them. Well done to their captain, Trent Cotchin, who was outstanding again yesterday.
They're almost certainly now in the 8. Can they do some damage?
Oh, they can win a final, the Tigers. I'm not suggesting they're capable of beating the really big teams in a big game, but I think they've got a finals win, and that would be a really, really strong year building into something special for me.
Das, I want you to have a look at what happened at Amy Stadium yesterday by way of Jimmy Bartel and Harry Taylor. Jimmy Bartel first. Look at the score. That kick puts them in front. You'd normally back Jimmy Bartel in. Hooked across the body, Stevie J style. Seconds later, Harry Taylor does the same thing, both missing to the near side. Why are they kicking the ball like that, does?
They pioneered that kick, as you said. It's the Stevie J kick, which when you're a once-in-a-generation freak at doing it is probably a good option. My issue under pressure, I think they should put it away because the players are awake up to it. You can see the Adelaide Crows charging from the line into the face of Jimmy Bartel. Look at 5 people running around. That's a hard enough kick if you're doing it at training with no one around you. When you've got 5 people who aren't as far back as they should be, the umpires have let them creep in. Then that kick, instead of taking 3 steps, they're trying to kick it off 1 step, and that becomes a lot more difficult. I reckon Jimmy Bartel's a 7 out of 10 with a drop punt.
Do you bar it? As Chris Scott as coach, do you now say to your players, no, it's
I'm not big on barring things at all. I think you put the responsibility back on the players and you say, it's up to you, but just kick it. If I was Bartel and Taylor and the like, I'd be rethinking under pressure. The opposition will wake up to it. It's not working.
There's a little bit of North Melbourne about what's happening to Geelong, and I raise that in the context of the narrow losses they've had. They've only had 3 losses full stop, but they've all been narrow losses. Collingwood in round 8 by 6 points, Brisbane in round 13 by 5, and then on the weekend we saw what happened against Adelaide. But in the past 2 matches they've lost, they had leads of 52 points against the Lions and 30 against the Crows.
Bit of a long bow you're drawing, Damo, comparing their season to North Melbourne, I would have thought.
I can't imagine Chris Scott being happy about losing those matches.
Never happy when you lose anything, but an interstate side away, you're right, giving up big leads, but they've won 13 games prior to that.
They're giving away games they should have won.
Yeah, true. They've also won 13.
It's not an issue. We'll move on to Gary Ablett.
Top 4 in the ladder.
Who is an issue. 49 touches on the weekend, Das. I want you to, though, instead of comparing him with his dad like a lot of people are doing this week because of the games equalled being the 248 this week, 5 down to 1 of these famous football names on the screen now. Go.
This will be an easy task, Damo. No one will disagree with me here, particularly when I start. And we're comparing midfielders, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I got James Hird as number 5, the way I'd rank them. He played more as a forward, and unbelievable. So you're not going to win any friends in doing this, Damo. So thanks for throwing this up. Chris Judd, I've got at number 4, remarkable behind the quality that we're talking about.
A bit low.
Michael Voss, one of the all-time greats who I love, one of the great leaders.
A bit low.
Nathan Buckley, who I think gets underrated when you compare these guys. I'm a massive fan of Nathan Buckley's impact. We know he didn't win the grand finals, but I think if you put him in any side, I reckon he's the... But you can't go past Ablett. He is the best of the modern midfielders. Will be one of the best of all time.
So he's passed them all.
And he has passed them all.
Did he do that this year, or was he already there at the start of this year?
He's done it over the past 3 years.
When did you make him number 1?
First time I've been asked that question, so I'm not sure in my mind. But when he went up to the Gold Coast, everyone was lining up to say, you've cashed in here, you're not really interested, I don't think you've got the ticket to see it through. He's taken his game under that sort of pressure with everyone trying to stop him, no one else. It's one of the most extraordinary 3 years of football I've seen. Before that, he was an all-time great, so it's amazing.
Das, another example of North Melbourne losing matches it should have probably won. This was 1 point loss. I want to raise this in the context of the leaders, Das. So Tui comes through here. What's Wells doing now? I know he's fatigued. I understand that. But you take me through how he didn't seem to make a block on Tui there.
Fairly damning, this one for Daniel Wells. Look, he's pointing up the ground, but he thinks about going, then thinks, oh, no, I had to chase. Didn't realise Tui was going to go all the way. But you have those momentary lapses.
OK, your man Cruiser, who you wanted to trade, he took a good mark late in the piece, missed the goal, but he's got some good legs on him, Das, late in the game to get away from Goldstein.
Yeah, I actually saw Manny Cruiser during the week, and Todd Goldstein plays more minutes in the ruck than any other player in recent times, and he thought that if he worked hard late, he might be able to get him. He ran 150 metres, I saw that live, good play to Cruiser. Maybe Goldstein just needs a little bit of a chop out at some time during the game to give him a bit of a break. Hey, I want to have a look at this one too, Damo. Friday night, we know North have had their defensive issues. Have a look. We'll freeze it there. You cannot allow, this is 20 metres out from goal, deep into the last quarter. Look at all the green turf with no one defending inside it. That is just a cardinal sin. The good side.
So is it just footy 101? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
They've got to be filling that space.
Could you imagine the Sydney Swans in any game allowing that amount of space? Could you imagine Geelong in any game allowing that amount of space? Essendon, you think of the good teams. You've just got to, and that's the on-field leaders.
Let's roll it and see what happens, because you can see the score already.
Too late then. You have to get the half-forwards pushing up. You have to get someone who's brave enough to go back and guard the space, and you just can't allow it. There's 3 or 4 we could have played in the last quarter. You thought they'll get scored against every time. Speaking
of being brave enough, Chad Wingard on the weekend. Is this stupid, Das, or is it courageous? Because it's both.
It's a really interesting debate, this one, Damo, and I think you can't flick courage on and off. Once you've decided to go, you've got to go. But I think he's a potential A-grade, Chad Wingard.
But people like you always question players when they do take a short step. And you know my views on it. I reckon it's silly sometimes. You force players to go for contests like that.
We do, because that's the way you're wired. But I'm starting to rethink it, because if you can't impact the contest and you're too far away from it, then you're actually going to get injured and you're not going to help the team. So, look, if you're in the contest, you can't take a short step. But if you're 50 metres, I don't know why he should have been front and centre. He nearly killed himself, nearly killed one of his teammates. Probably not ideal.
You made fun of Robbie Gray last week as a Port player who slipped over having a shot at goal. It's an epidemic, though, Das. I think you're onto something before anyone else. This is Angus Monfries also slipping over.
Got some boot issues. Chad Wingard, the man we just spoke about, that's the up and under. And this is my favourite. Hamish Hartlett's leg nearly flies off into row 20 with something special there. They actually changed their boots at half-time, the Port boys. That makes me laugh. Now, I know you've been looking forward to this one, Damo. You've brought something to the table.
I like it when you bring a little crispy at the end, Das.
This is yours. I'll let you run this one.
No, it's yours, but I'll do it for you. Matty Cruiser, Das, so you did want to trade to GWS a while ago. He copped a nasty knock on the lip late in the game, Das.
And you're a big fan of Forrest Gump.
I'm not actually. You reminded me he looked a little bit like Bubba.
There's a little bit of the big fat lip there for Matty Cruiser. Hey, we've got something special that I need to discuss with you right now, Damo, and that is Toyota, who are launching their latest Legendary Moments campaign. But this year they're asking you, the fans, to film and send in your favourite legendary moment, and you could win some fantastic prizes. The Ashburton Redbacks Junior Footy Club, Damo, great junior team. They've had a crack at it. Let's take a look.
Our legendary moment was a kick after the sign by a rugby league convert.
It ended a 22-game losing streak for the Gold Coast Suns.
It was a warm night up in Cairns.
The Tigers looked in control up until about a minute to go.
But Carmichael Hunt had other ideas.
An uncontested mark 25 metres out from goal.
And some advice from Gaz.
Kick through it, right? Okay.
Da-na-na.
First up from the Ashy Redbacks, a great little junior club, the boys, and they put that together, wrote the script themselves.
Some room for improvement for other stars, is that fair to say?
Harsh, I would have thought, Damo. You should be a bit more encouraging. That disappointing reaction from you. So this is what you've got to do, though. If you want to be part of it, you can film your legendary moment, upload it to toyota.com.au/mylegendarymoment, and this is what you could win. Have a listen to this, Damo. The prizes include a brand new Toyota Hilux, if you don't mind, tickets to the grand final, and a spot in the on-field motorcade during the pre-match presentation. So I would encourage you out there, get filming, get your entries in. The Ashy Redbacks have done it, and that's an unbelievable prize list there, Damo. Have a go.
Very lucrative, Damo.
I'm told the umpires have had a go, so we might play that in a week's time. That's all we've got time for, Damo. Access all areas. We'll be back next Monday. Thanks for joining us once again. We'll see you soon.